What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another Angle of Pursuit podcast, your fantasy football home over at fakepigskin.com. I'm your host, Kyle. With me tonight, it's Pablo, FF_Fugazi. What's up, Pablo?
What's up, Kyle? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm living the dream, as they say, and we got some football to talk. Got some dynasty buy
Yes.
lows. We got some guys we're trying to sell in other dynasty leagues. We got a lot to get into, but before we dive in, before we jump in head first, I want to talk some Hunter Henry because news broke Tuesday
Ah,
that
yep.
tore his ACL, done for the year. They're talking about running back with old man Gates. I guess if you're in a dynasty league and you own Hunter Henry, is he a guy that you're thinking maybe I'm willing to sell him on a discount if I'm a contender? Are you a guy that if he's in your league is interesting to see what kind of lowball offers you can throw out there? And I guess if you're looking to buy or looking to sell on him, I guess what's the price you're comfortable paying or would need in order to move him?
Man. Well, as a disclaimer, I don't have him anywhere. So
Same.
I do have Virgil Green on one dynasty team.
You're still
So
hanging on to that
I'm
nonsense,
like,
huh?
I just, he was like a guy that I kept thinking I should drop him this offseason,
Mm,
but I just max out my offseason roster size and let it sit for as
yeah.
long as I can
Yeah, I'm
because
I'm
it
I'm
doesn't
like that
matter.
with Clive Walford. I know some people are like that with Michael Pruitt. Like everybody's
Yep.
got a name. I
Right.
did. We were talking a little bit before we started this about how best ball leagues, and somehow I've managed to completely avoid him in all my drafts so far. So feeling pretty
Yep.
good about that. But I guess if you're in Dynasty and he's out there and you think you could potentially buy low, is that a move that's interesting to you?
I mean, I would say yes, but at the same time, I generally tend to punt the tight end position a little more. So and I'm usually trying to win every year.
Hmm.
So if the price was right, if I could get him for like a fourth or maybe even a third, I would
Yeah.
think about it. But like I can't see myself spending any more than that just because he doesn't do anything for me this year, and I just don't put a whole lot of weight into how much I utilize the tight end position. So
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't think that's getting it done. I'm thinking
yeah,
maybe if you're still doing rookie drafts and you have like a early to mid second, that
mhm,
probably gets it done for a Hunter Henry owner, depending on kind of other needs, or
right,
maybe you're sending if you had we're gonna throw out some names here in a minute, but like if you had a Jared Cook or an Austin Hooper, maybe you do that and a third, and then you get Hunter Henry. But
hmm,
it's a lot of dependency on, okay, what does the rest of your tight ends look like? Can you afford to have this guy sit on your bench all year and
right,
take up space, knowing that there's going to be value, but you're going to have to wait a full year, maybe a year and a half for it to really come to fruition. So
yep,
it's kind of one of those things. Now, if you own Henry, you said you're a guy that you're fine playing with below average or kind of streamable type tight ends.
yep.
Is he a guy you're looking? Hey, come buy him on a quote unquote discount and give me a 2017 or 2018 second, or a 2019 second, and then maybe someone's taking him off your hands at that price.
Yeah, I think I would do it for the 19 second for sure, just because then I'm not even losing any time or
Yeah.
ground. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's tough for me. Just like I said, I'm trying to win every year in all of my leagues pretty much, um, and unless the price was lower than I think it ever would be, I probably wouldn't be the one buying
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying that that
Yeah.
wouldn't be my style.
If you're a Henry believer, now is probably your window to get him at a reasonable price, because it seemed
Yeah.
like the buzz gaining, and they figured Gates is out of the way and it's time to shine. But we'll
You know
see.
what though? Honestly, the time to buy might even be like 4 or 5 months from now
Yeah, like mid season
when, yep,
or
when
like
people are like struggling through stuff and they're like, ah, this guy's just sitting on the bottom of my roster. Maybe they forget how much they liked Hunter Henry at one time and they'll be willing to sell him for even less.
No, I love that call. I love that call. I think another interesting decision would be, maybe selling one of these rookie tight ends, maybe,
Sure.
Hayden Hurst or one of those guys, Mike Gesicki.
Yeah.
You can flip him for Hunter Henry, and tight ends are always interesting. It always takes them
Yeah.
a little extra while to
For
get
sure.
in. Now, if you just lost Hunter Henry in a dynasty league, obviously you can't just run out to the wire and add somebody. So let's talk about a few tight ends that you could be trying to acquire on the cheap. And I want to start in Oakland with Jared Cook, who's been
Jared Cook.
he's been pretty solid. He had a good year in Green Bay, and then he went to Oakland and he was fine. Like, he's obviously not a guy who's going to win you a week, but for what he's going to cost to acquire him, he's a guy you can play a lot of weeks in an offense that, I'm not a big Derek Carr fan, but I think there's enough between, Amari Cooper and, Crabtree's obviously gone. Jordy Nelson's there now. I think Jared Cook, if you're looking to acquire a tight end on the cheap, could make a ton of sense.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't have any problem with Cook, but I'm not. There's a lot of people who I think have been burnt year over year, waiting for him to become what they thought he was going to be, and it's kind of like Eric Ebron now. He's the new Jared Cook to me, where like he comes out, he's uber athletic. People are thinking he's going to explode, and it just never really happens. But he can get you points. He might never give you a 20-point week or anything, but you'll have some weeks where he gives you 10 and
give you a safe floor, help you out, and not kill you. And we're
and
talking.
He's going to be cheap.
Yeah, exactly. Another guy that I love that I have gotten by so many times with this guy, and I had him his big year in what was it, New Orleans, and now he's back in New Orleans. So this is nice. Is my boy Ben Watson. I know he's like 100. I know he's blew out his knee, but this is an offense where he's already flourished. He's got a rapport with Drew Brees. Willie Snead's gone. There is opportunity there. Right. I like Ben Watson, and he's a guy that might even be on your freaking waiver wire, like in some shallower dynasty leagues.
Sure, absolutely. I was checking out some of these guys as ADPs, and I mean, a lot of times he's not even being drafted.
Mm-hmm.
So
if you need a guy, if you're a Hunter Henry owner and you just lost, your guy for the year, and you have maybe a rookie, or maybe you have some Virgil Green, Michael Pruitt type tight ends sitting on your roster, Ben Watson's a great guy, and you can even if you have to trade for him, you could give up a fourth. And if you're a contender or you're a team that's looking to be pretty good this year, I think Ben Watson can help you.
Solid. I respect it, man.
Yep. Next guy on our list, this is one of your recommendations. Let's talk some Austin Hooper.
Hooper.
Talk to me about him and kind of why you think he's worth going after.
He's the post hype. He's the post hype sleeper for me. I don't, like I said before, I don't get very excited about tight ends. David Njoku was the first rookie tight end I've ever drafted in my life last year, just because I was so pumped about him, and I basically figured I was never going to play him this year. I always assume tight ends come in, you got to give them a few years before they're really going to start producing for you.
Yep.
Obviously, there's anomalies to that, but I've been reading some off-season reports about Hooper and the work he's been putting in and time he's been putting with Matt Ryan and getting better shape and studying film, and I don't know. Everybody's pretty jacked about Calvin Ridley and taking the new slot role, and I'm just thinking maybe that opens it up for Hooper even more. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, usually year 3, year 4 is when they fully break out. He went from 19 catches in his rookie year to 49 catches. Had 65 targets. I'm with you. I like Hooper. I think there is definitely potential there in year 3. Obviously, Calvin Ridley is there, and Mohamed Sanu, Julio's still there, but I still think there's plenty of targets to go around, and I think the fact that Calvin's there, I think actually makes Hooper's price a little more reasonable.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
So if you're looking to buy Austin Hooper, what kind of offers are you throwing out there?
Oh man, I mean, This always just goes back to I'm always going to be lower, but
Yeah.
like if I really wanted to get him from somebody, I would I would be willing to come at him with like a late third or an early third with the willing to budge into an early second if I had that ability.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking mid to late second is kind of what I'm trying to do. If I'm
Mm,
a, if I'm a contender, that's where I'm giving up. If I'm not, if I'm more of on the rebuild, Hooper's great. He's 23. He's still got, a ton of upside. So yeah, I'm with you. Like it depends on my roster, and obviously, you could have players that you can kind of, oh, I have, this receiver. I can turn Marvin Jones into Austin Hooper plus. Or I can, there's always ways to work that too. But I like to talk about value in terms of rookie picks because it's a little easier to kind of have a quantitative. Everybody's leagues are so
for sure.
different.
You know,
But yeah,
one thing I would do is I would try to find the leagues where the Austin Hooper owner has a stud tight end.
hmm
Pursue the stud tight end. Say, hey, I'll give you a second for that guy. They'll
yeah,
be like, no way. Then say, all right, what about Austin Hooper?
yeah. I love doing that.
How about like a third for Austin Hooper? You might get him.
Yeah,
Just say fine. Like
yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, I'm with you. Or and then it's a good strategy too because if they have Zach Ertz or they have Travis Kelsey, they're not even really tied to Austin Hooper or really
right.
care that he's on the roster. So they're gonna be like, all right, you know what, I don't want to move this guy, but I'm fine moving that guy. Um, what about Luke Wilson? Because obviously,
Luke
I
Wilson.
mean, and we're not
Yes.
another guy that could be hanging around your waiver wire.
Oh
Uh,
man, dude.
I mean, Jimmy Graham's gone.
Jimmy.
Seattle is
Well,
in.
so Luke Wilson is on the Lions
Oh,
now.
that's right. That's right. He took
Yeah,
Ebron's
yeah,
place.
yeah. That's why like he's penciled in as their number one tight end. If
Yeah.
you look at his athletic profile on playerprofiler.com, like
hmm
he's off the charts, dude. He's like athletically super gifted. He's never really been given the opportunity to be the dude. I
hmm
feel like in a fully functioning role. I don't think you can even call the times where he was on Seattle that because they just don't. Their offense is so weird to me. But anyway,
Yeah.
I like if he's given the job, I think he could drastically outperform. I mean, he's not even getting drafted right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely an athletic guy, move tight end that can get down the field. It will be interesting to see kind of how he fits with Marvin Jones and Kenny Galladay and obviously Golden Tate. But yeah, I
yeah,
mean, Stafford's shown the willingness to throw to his tight ends in the past, and
for
with
sure.
Ebron gone, I mean, Wilson's what 28 now, and
Yep.
now's the time. Time to
Which is like
explode.
prime time for a tight end,
Yeah,
honestly. To
yeah. No, I like that call quite a bit. Like, once again, this is going to be a guy that wins you weeks, but if he has solid, weekly floor and ends up becoming something more than kind of what people expect, like he's a guy that, maybe you could throw out a fourth and or some, some receiver that's like your eighth receiver and
mm,
do a little swap and
yeah,
call it a day.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's a dart throw, but for a position that I like to punt, he's a great throw
Yeah.
for me. So
I don't hate the idea of getting like Luke Wilson and Ben Watson and
no,
seeing
yeah, totally.
seeing if you can get a couple of those guys, and then you have your darts on on your bottom of your roster, and then just see
Right.
kind of who emerges as the offseason ticks along and all that good
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
man.
let's get through it. Let's start talking about some players to buy, some players to sell, and we've kind of mentioned this before, but like this is like people remember what you did for me lately, and
Yep.
2 years ago, Todd Gurley was nobody wanted him. He's inefficient. He couldn't be a fantasy producer. Uh, I got him. People were trading for him on the cheap, and he was taking him to freaking fantasy titles.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it happen with a ton of different names,
Yeah.
and like last year, people were just emerging. So this year, let's throw out a few names of guys that are kind of in that category, and I want you to start out with your running back from Arizona because I think
Oh
I
yeah.
think he's a perfect fit for this.
Yeah, man. No, so my A huge dynasty buy for me right now, as crazy as it sounds, because he's, top dog, David Johnson. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, dude's a stud. He can do it all. People forget that, last year he missed the season, but the year before that, if you took away all his rushing stats and just gave his receiving stats, he would have been like wide receiver 26 or something like that. But like, and so take that and add all of the rushing that he gives you.
Yeah.
I just feel like people have kind of cooled off on him because of the injury, because like you said, what have you done for me lately? You know, I've got the 101 in a couple leagues, and I've been thinking about tossing it over to the guy with David Johnson and seeing if he'll take that.
Oh yeah.
Because,
I
man,
think
I
I
really
think
like Saquon, but I would do that.
I think that's a deal you get done. I think you could get. I think if I were you, I would offer the 101 for David Johnson and maybe a little sweetener and see what he does. Because
Yeah.
because I think you could pull that off. And
Mm,
if he doesn't, if he baffles at it, maybe you get the 101 for David Johnson, and then you're just doing the swap that you're comfortable doing anyways.
right.
Yeah,
Yep.
I love the David Johnson call. Obviously, there's some question marks. Sam Bradford's there. They brought in Josh Rosen. They brought in Christian Kirk. They still have
Mm,
Larry Fitzgerald. Bruce Arians is gone, so he's coming off
that's
an
true.
injury. So there
Yep.
there is some little bit of haziness around him for sure. But like this is a great time. Like, if you ever wanted to buy David Johnson, if you ever wanted to get in that market, now is the time because this is the lowest his price is going to be.
Yep. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
David
I
Johnson.
love it. The guy I'm gonna go with is Jordan Howard. I love this. I love this opportunity for Jordan Howard. This is an interesting team. Obviously, it's one that's basically transformed almost completely over the offseason. Added Trey Burton, added Anthony Miller via the draft. Obviously, added Allen Robinson. They brought in Matt Nagy from Kansas City, which has everyone a buzz about Tarek Cohen, and we'll be talking about him here shortly. But I think I think this is a nice. I think this is a good move for Jordan Howard, who when they were in games where the Bears were close, or especially when they had the lead, Jordan
Hmm.
Howard was a monster.
Yeah.
It was the games where they were getting blown out by 20, 30 points that Cohen and they had to throw more and all that stuff, and Jordan Howard was kind of useless. So with an improved defense, an improved offense, a more unique, impactful offense, though with Matt Nagy, I think the sky's the limit. And Jordan Howard's a guy who is going third, fourth round in redraft leagues. So if you can go get him, I think he's a guy to buy.
Sure. Yeah. You know what's interesting? I don't mean to just take us off track for a second, but Jordan Howard coming in was one of those guys where he did everything good, but maybe nothing like popped off the charts or was looked exceptional.
Yeah.
And since he's come in and been given the opportunity, I feel like he's done above and beyond what people have expected out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And I will always be a proponent of going after those guys that people are always betting against, if they continue to show that they produce.
Right.
Um, so that being said, when you were talking about him, I just thought that, and I thought, what running back right now in this like rookie draft is that guy?
Rashad
Is the
Penny.
guy that does everything good, but nobody? You think so?
No, I think
I mean, I feel
Rashad.
like people love Penny though. Like he's
Yeah,
going
no,
like 102, 103.
yeah,
I like Penny.
I love him. I get Melvin Gordon vibes from him.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. If we look at this year's rookie class,
Uh-huh.
let me see. I'll pull up my rankings and see if I have anybody that jumps to mind. Is there a name for you that kind of
Honestly, the only guy that came to my mind when I was thinking about it that way was Royce Freeman.
I think
I just thought,
him or Kerryon Johnson could definitely fall. Kerryon
hmm
Johnson's a guy that I don't. People are kind of like it. Obviously, it's a great situation, but in
yeah,
terms of talent, kind of seem wishy washy on him. I think Royce Freeman could make a ton of sense. Um,
Yeah, and who knows? That I mean, it might not even happen. It could have
Yeah.
just been the situation and the opportunity. But it just took my mind for a little ride there. Like,
No,
who's
I
that
love it.
guy?
I love it. Yeah, Royce Freeman. I think Royce Freeman or Kerryon Johnson are probably that guy.
Mm.
Bigger, backs with great opportunity. It will be interesting to see kind of how those guys. I'm wondering, like, everyone's trying to talk themselves into Jordan Wilkins in Indy. Could he
Yeah,
be the guy? I don't know. It's
sure.
yeah. Um,
Huh. I just out of curiosity, out of Carry On and Royce, who's your guy out of those two?
Freeman probably. I
Yeah.
they're I mean they for me they're back to back in my rookie ranks. I think they're what
Hmm.
running back 7, running back 8. So just like outside the first round for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Freeman's my guy too. Honestly, like when I watched Carry On, I just got this like poor man's DeMarco Murray vibe. I don't
Yeah,
know, like
I could see that.
he just kind of felt like a plotter who like ran straight up too often, and obviously he was successful, and he was has good draft capital. He's going to be given opportunity. I'm not completely sold on him,
Yeah, no,
and I could be totally wrong.
yep. Well, I mean, we can't always be right, but just because the Lions took him early doesn't mean he's great going to be a star either. So,
For sure.
where do you fall on that kind of draft capital versus what you see with your eyes versus situation? How do you kind of blend all that when you're kind of evaluating prospects and thinking about where you would be comfortable taking them?
Yeah, I think that draft capital matters obviously because
Hmm.
it's going to be a proponent of their opportunity, which the volume trumps everything else. So
Yep.
if a guy's going to be given opportunity, even if I had him much lower on, perfect example is uh, I hate even talking about this because I like him so much, but Equanimous St. Brown.
Yeah.
I had him as a top 10 wide receiver. We know the Packers took him in the 6th round or whatever after drafting two other wide receivers,
Yeah.
who I wasn't that high on, and but I feel like they really like Jamon Moore,
Yeah. No,
and I,
I'm 1,000% with you. I loved EQ St. Brown. I had him in some Devy leagues. There's a lot of fantasy Twitter that really loved him.
yep,
But the NFL teams tell us everything. Like there's a non-zero chance that he doesn't even make the team out of training camp. Like he could be
right,
cut and end up somewhere else. But
yeah,
yeah,
totally.
I
I mean, the
mean,
Packers took Malachi Dupre last year, who I
yep,
really liked in the 6th round, and he didn't make the team
yep,
either.
yep.
So I don't know.
And he's talking about not stretching and talking about not wanting to play special teams and
Right,
that when you're already behind the 8 ball you can't be doing stuff like that. So yeah,
right,
no, I mean that's the thing is we watch these guys pre-draft and in college and fall in love with them, but the NFL teams
yeah,
have to tell us where the value, and if they don't see it and they don't want to give them opportunities, nothing matters what we think.
right.
I mean, there's a whole faction of Christine Michael and Jeff Janis and all these truthers
Oh,
out there on the Twitterverse that just keep waiting for these guys to become a thing.
uh, bro, you're not sea woke.
No, I'm not wide awake.
He's
No.
he's healthy now. Come on.
I'm not doing it again. I've tried it.
Oh man.
I tried. I was
Yep.
when it was final year in Seattle. I was like, all right, I'll try this again. And then nope, not happening.
Man, he had some good weeks though.
Yeah, no, he had some great weeks. He had some great weeks.
You know what's crazy anecdote about that, real quick? I tweeted something like, "It smells like Green Bay needs to get Seawoke." Like a week. It was like right in between him getting cut and the Packers picking him up.
Nice.
Like like I, after it happened, I just freaked out. Like no way.
McCarthy's
Like
McCarthy's following you on Twitter, dude. He knows. He's like shit. We do need to get
ah.
Seawoke. Let's go get this guy.
Yeah,
Uh,
Thompson's like, oh shit.
yeah.
Yep. Oh, that's great.
Ted Thompson. He's a charm.
R.I.P. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So let's get into the next guy as a guy you want to buy, and this is a guy that I think makes a ton of sense, even though people want to keep moving on. That's Doug Baldwin. Talk to me about him.
Doug. Oh man, Doug Baldwin. I love Doug Baldwin. He's my guy, dude. Like everybody, I feel like he's just perpetually underappreciated.
Hmm.
Every year he's wide receiver 10, 11, 12, 13, somewhere in between like 10 and 15.
Yeah.
And he's always drafted lower than that. I think I've been getting him in like the fourth, sometimes even fifth rounds of drafts this year in best ball. And I'm going to take him there every time. Like, I, I guess I get it. People chase youth, people chase, what they're envisioning as like a guy's ceiling. But I
Hmm.
just think, who is Russ going to be passing to?
Well, that's the thing with Paul Richardson gone, with Jimmy Graham gone. There's so many opportunities. Obviously, we assume they are based upon adding offensive line help, adding Rashad Penny. They're going to lean a little bit more on the ground game. But
Hmm.
that's Russ is still going to throw. He's still going
Right.
to have his high percentage throws down the field. He's still going to
Yep.
do his scramble drill. And who's he going to look for? He's going to look for Doug Baldwin, the guy that he knows where to be. He knows how to look for Russ and how to come back when Russ is doing his thing. And I'm
Yep.
100% with you. Like people like he's wide receiver 12 right now, 31st overall on ADP, and this is just for probably for redraft, but
Hmm.
he's a guy that you can get and will be super solid, super safe, and you can always seemingly get he's a wide receiver one that you can pay wide receiver two prices for.
Yep. Totally.
And I don't know, I'm 100% with you. He's another guy that, and he'll have his weeks where he's not great, but he's going to be pretty solid most of the time, and he'll
Right.
find a way to either put up the yards, put up the touchdowns, or some combination of both
Yep.
to have a really productive season.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm on it. I love it.
What so if we assume that Baldwin rebounds, obviously Rashad Penny's there. Is Are you in on Tyler Lockett?
Ah,
Do we think
Tyler Lockett.
CJ Procise does stuff? Like where are you at with this team?
Man, I full on drank the Kool-Aid when Matt Harmon dropped like his Tyler Lockett love. Okay, but before even he did that, I was like getting into Tyler Lockett myself. So
Yeah.
every
Well,
once in a while, I'm like starting to really dig on a guy as I'm looking at their stats, and then Matt
mm,
Harmon will drop this like bomb about them being like this great route runner, and everybody respects what he says, and so their prices
yeah.
skyrocket, and um, so yeah, since that happened, I've just been like this whole time, like, man, was I wrong? Like, was Matt wrong, or is it just like, is it not even that? I know he's been injured, like,
Yeah, I think it's a combination of injuries. I think it's Lockett was a guy I was really excited about, but I don't know if I think he might be a guy that's much better in structure, and I think the
mhm.
lack of structure in Seattle isn't great for him.
Yeah,
But this is going to
that's
be
fair.
this is going to be his opportunity to really do something because we
Hmm.
talked about all the talent that left. Doug
Yep.
Baldwin's still there, but
Right.
Lockett's there. They brought in Jerron Brown, who I've seen some stuff that I kind of like. Amara Darboh was an interesting name that could emerge.
Yeah.
Um, but like with that, yeah, I mean it's there's
Their tight
there.
end, I think, is Ed Dixon right now.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just They're running Nick Vanette and Ed Dixon. There's opportunity there. Oh, and another name that is probably going to cost you a little more that I forgot to throw out. We were talking tight ends, but I like me some Jake Butt this year. So
Okay.
out in
Okay.
Denver,
The
I think,
Broncos. Yeah.
yeah, I think there's an opportunity there. And
It's hard to
Nick,
not like Butt.
yeah, well, I mean, especially when you want a tight end named Bud. I mean, it doesn't get any better. He's super athletic.
Yeah.
He's fully healthy, and with Case Keenum there, I think there's an opportunity for sure. So
Sure.
that's another name to throw out. But yeah, I don't know. I think Tyler Lockett's interesting. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think if we don't see something this year, I think there's going to be some decisions to be made with him for sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some guys we're going to sell, and I want to talk about a couple running backs that seem to have a lot of Twitter buzz right now. And whenever Twitter buzz gets going, their price gets overinflated, and that's when you sell and you get your profit.
Yep.
And I think Tariq Cohen is one of those guys for me. Um,
Tyreek.
I like the guy. I think he's talented. I think there will definitely be opportunities for him to be an impactful player for your fantasy team.
Hmm.
But like the prices people are paying, like they want to make him like a Chris Thompson guy who's going to catch like 60 balls and get some work in the run game, and Jordan Howard's just never going to play, and I don't know. It seems like people are getting way too aggressive with him.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I thoroughly enjoyed watching Tariq Cohen in college. He was incredibly fun to watch. My entire and apprehension with him from the get go, though, coming into the league was I don't know if he's going to be able to do the joystick, making five guys miss all within like a 5 yard parameter. Like I see that happening in college a lot more than in the pros, and so I just didn't know if his abilities would translate as well. And to his credit, they have. Like he's played well, but I think those guys that are fun to watch often get there's like this cool factor where like, man, that guy's sweet. I want him on my team.
Yeah.
I'm gonna overpay for him. I'm gonna set a higher ceiling than's probably realistic.
Yeah, like Ty Montgomery last year.
Oh man, no, come on.
I was all in on that. I had him as like a top 10 running back with it going into
I
the
did
season.
too, man. I did too. That was, and you
but
know what?
like,
To be fair, he could have been if he would have
Yeah.
stayed healthy. I mean, I don't know. It's
so
possible.
so I'm looking at like startup or redraft ADP. So obviously this is just for this year, but
Yep.
he's RB 29, 76
Cohen
player.
is?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like Rashad Penny's after him. Would you rather Rashad Penny or Tariq Cohen for this year?
Oh, Penny.
Yeah. Would you rather have Marlon Mack or Tariq Cohen for this year?
Mac.
Would you rather have either Jamal Williams or Aaron Jones or Tariq Cohen?
I would take Jamal first.
Okay. But would you, yeah, see, but that's what I'm saying. Like, Ronald Jones is there. I'd rather have him. Royce Freeman, Nick Chubb, LeGarrette Blount. Then we start getting into a little more of a muddied waters. And obviously,
Right.
we'll be talking some of these backfields that have some big question marks. But, like, I think I'd rather take the shot on Nick Chubb becoming a thing than Tariq Cohen. Like, it obviously depends. Like, are you
Yeah.
looking for, are you in a PPR league and you need stability from your RB2 and you're going to take your shots?
Right.
Or do you want, more upside? But, like, I'd rather have Royce Freeman, Aaron Jones, Isaiah Crowell is probably not, but Ronald Jones for sure, Jamal Williams, Marlon Mack, Rashad Penny, Kerryon Johnson, C.J. Anderson. Like, I'd rather have all these guys.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I just feel like if you're gonna go for a running back for like that kind of like higher floor in a PPR setting, satellite back, I just would rather do that in the teens, or I would give me Sproles and Corey Clement, or guys who
Yeah.
are much cheaper, who are probably gonna be giving you maybe not as consistent, but potentially the same thing.
yeah, like Chris Thompson, like, I feel like you could get on a similar, like, in a similar role
Even
and get
Theo Riddick. Is Theo
Theo
Riddick going
Riddick.
later
Oh yeah, Theo Riddick's going much later,
than
and
Cohen? Okay.
people are all
Yeah,
out.
for
People
sure.
like don't even think about him because they brought in Blunt, they brought in Kerryon Johnson. They think he's just not, But yeah, like
Yep.
I'd much rather trade those guys, trade Riddick or trade Cohen, get some
Cohen.
value, and then try and get one of those running backs later.
Sure.
Another guy. So let's talk some Jerick McKinnon.
Oh boy.
Because the bathwater is there
Oh.
and people are drinking it up. And this feels like I can tell you the narrative that he's going to San Francisco. He's going to work with Kyle Shanahan. He's going to be with his buddy Matt Breida. There's so much opportunity. This offense is rolling. Jimmy Garoppolo's a star. Like, yes, there's a lot to get excited about. But, like, Jerick McKinnon in the third round of a redraft league, Jerick McKinnon paying a first round rookie pick for him, no thank you. I will sell him every day of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, man, and if it was a late rookie first round, I might do it. If it had to be like 10 or later for me to even consider it, but still, like, man, my thing with McKinnon is I feel like if there was poles on the field, this is kind of ridiculous, but if there was poles on the field, he would just run into them. Like he runs hard and fast and straight, and that's great. Like you want a guy to be able to do that. But sometimes he'll just smash into the backside of even his own blockers, and I'm just like, dude, like take a breath, like
Yeah,
cut, make a
yeah.
cut, dude. I don't like he's uber athletic.
Hmm. And
He can be
he's
fun to watch. He can do, he can do things. But I just man, that's my thing where I'm just like, why does he do that?
yeah. I mean, he was great complimentary piece to Latavius Murray last year.
For
That
sure.
they fit each other really well.
Mhm.
And if the Niners can find a way to kind of utilize that, I think he has that ability. But I just like as this star running back that everyone's kind of trying to push him into.
Mhm.
Like I don't think that's the case.
Yep. I
I think
agree.
I think people are going to do that with Duke Johnson too. And I've already seen some articles coming out about how he's the next McKinnon, and he's
Yeah, I
he.
actually like Duke Johnson though, and I think that Duke could actually be like the primary running back, whereas I don't feel like McKinnon is built for that
So
or
you
has
think
the
Duke
skill.
has like better vision and
Hmm.
better patience?
Better patience, vision. Yeah. So I do this thing called for lack of a better term, I call it TDFD, which is a touchdown and first down percentage, um, and it counts. The NFL counts a touchdown as a first down, so I count a touchdown again. So touchdown is
Hmm.
basically counted as two. And Duke Johnson was second best in the NFL last year in TDFD percentage, only to Alvin Kamara.
Hmm.
And that was his second year in a row, Duke Johnson, where he was in the top five.
Wow.
Um, like when you look at his efficiency, it's been great. And I've always felt like, man, if he was given more opportunity, I feel like he's been pigeonholed as a passing down back, but I think he could actually be more than that.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't necessarily. I wish that Duke would have went where McKinnon is. I
Yeah.
would have been much more excited about that, to be
That'd be
honest. But
interesting. Or like if he went to like Indy and took over the role there.
sure.
Yeah, I mean the potential's I'm with you. The potential's definitely there. I just people will start the narrative train going, and then his price goes like even if I think McKinnon's going to be solid. I think Duke Johnson would be good, but I just think what you're going to have to pay to land these guys as they're heading into their quote unquote feature back role.
Right.
I think Tevin Coleman could fall into that as well.
Yep.
It's just the price is going to be too high. So
Yep.
and if you really like the player and you want to, you want to have him on your team, like I'm not telling you to trade him, but
Hmm.
I'm saying if you want to gain value, you want to get more than what he's worth, now is
Yep.
the time to trade him.
Right. For sure.
And if we're talking about guys where now is the time to trade him, if you want to trade him, Dalvin
Oh
Cook.
yeah. Oh,
Um,
Dalvin.
I've been moving him I moved him in a couple leagues. I actually traded for him in another league when it was a deal where I got Gurley and Christian. Or when I moved Gurley, I got Dalvin and Christian Kirk. So when you Christian Kirk's involved, I'm all aboard. But yeah, Dalvin is the guy to be moving. His price tag, like for a guy coming off of a massive knee injury, it somehow went up.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I like he to honestly, he's my number one, so I don't have him anywhere,
Mm.
unfortunately for myself and my desires to make trades. But he's my number one sell in Dynasty right now. He's going in the first round of most drafts or early second. I mean, he had shoulder injury concerns coming in to the pros. Is like, and who knows? Maybe his combine was just a flop, and he's actually like much more athletic than, and he probably is more
Mm.
athletic than his combine showed. But like, there's all kinds of red flags with that, and off the field issues. Um, you know, I can't fathom spending that much on a guy who's played 4 NFL games and has had that amount of off field and injury concerns.
Yeah. You know who I'm getting Dalvin Cook 2.0 vibes from?
Oh, who?
Ronald Jones. I love Ronald
Yeah.
Jones. I think there's so much potential in Tampa. I think the fact that he didn't, excel in testing
Uh,
makes him a little more affordable in rookie drafts. But
sure.
like if you put Darius Geis in that situation instead of Ronald Jones, people would be losing their minds. But like
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's so much potential there, and I think this time next year we'll be talking about Ronald Jones like we're talking about Dalvin Cook. So,
It's
um,
possible.
but
Man,
yeah,
speaking, quick thing on Geis.
yeah.
I just read something just like an hour before we got on here about how Rob Kelly was taking the first RB snaps and then uh, P. Ryan and then
Yeah,
Geis.
I
And
think
that probably means nothing. It's so early in OTAs, but like
I think that's 100%.
it
Okay,
reminded me
most
that I
veteran.
can't trust them. I don't I don't know if I can trust the Redskins to make like the right decision, even though if I
Yeah.
think Geis is the best running back.
Well, once again, it doesn't matter what we think. It matters what Jay Gruden or whatever coach happens to think. But at the same time, if we think a player is the best player there,
Yeah,
and we think he'll be it doesn't matter if they're the feature back in week 1. It matters that they're the feature back week 3, week 4, whatever it is, through the rest of the season. And
right.
we saw that with Kamara, even in a shared role with Mark Ingram, where Ingram was a star. Kamara was able to be really good. And
Mm-hmm.
it sometimes you want to work them in a little slow, let them have their success, and
That's
build
fair.
up. I think
Yeah.
I be shocked if we're playing Rob Kelly or Samaje P. Ryan week 1 in DFS? No. But then I think come week 2, week 3, week 4, it's guys to show he's taking over and he's doing stuff. I think obviously like I have my concerns about how useful he'll be in the passing game, especially year 1, year 2. As long as Chris Thompson's there and healthy,
Yeah.
I think he'll be involved. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think there's a lot to like about Darius Geis. Like, would you rather have Darius Geis or Joe Mixon this year?
Ooh, man. Ah, wow, that's tough. That's tough for me. I think I would rather take Geis.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like Mixon's another guy that like I have concerns.
Mm-hmm.
He had opportunities. He wasn't great. The Bengals offensive line isn't great. So
Mm-hmm.
like if he kind of flutters out again, like I wouldn't be shocked. And
Sure.
people are still all aboard the Mixon train. And at the same time, he's a really talented guy who was
Yeah.
awesome at Oklahoma. And if he ends up being a star, like that wouldn't shock me either. But he's a guy that if you're not in love with him, I would be willing to move at the right price, and get some value back.
Yeah, for sure. Same here. Good sell.
Yep, yep. All right, Pablo, this was fun. Talked to a bunch of our buy lows, a bunch of our players to sell. We talked some Hunter Henry.
Ah.
Yeah,
Yep.
we'll be back in the coming weeks. Probably not for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but
Cause you're
because
getting married.
somebody's getting married this weekend and it's
Hey,
not you. So yeah,
it's not me.
I'm getting married this weekend.
Uh,
Then I'm off to Hawaii for a week. So yeah, we'll be back. So if you have show ideas, if you have topics you want discussed, hit us up. Our Twitter handles are right below us. Our floating heads, as they say. So, but for Pablo, I'm Kyle, and we'll talk to you guys next time.